Hello everybody. This is Ableton certified trainer and Dubspot instructor Thavius Beck. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about using follow action in Ableton Live. Follow action is an extremely useful tool because it allows you to tell an audio clip or a MIDI clip to play for a certain amount of time and then to do something else. So you can essentially create sequences within your session view with a bit more randomization and kind of live feel and not worry about committing things to your arrangement view. So let me just give you an example of how this works. What I have right now is a track with a drum break here. I'll play this for you so you can hear it. And this drum break has been warped, so it's on beat. 4 bars of drummy goodness, okay? So from this 4 bars, what I've done is I've extracted 1 bar chunks. So that's 1 bar there. Another piece here. Another piece there. And the point of me doing this is because I want to take this original loop here and I just want to alter the rhythm, the timing. I just don't want it to sound like a loop. If I can help it, I want to be able to have some sort of randomization happening all throughout the time this drum is playing, so it never really loops. And with follow action, it's pretty easy to set that up. So again, I have all these 1 bar sections of this loop here. Now, with follow action, which you can find down here, typically when you open up Live, you just have your clip window, and then you can see your samples here. If you hit this L button, this brings up your launch mode. Within the launch mode, we have, or within the launch window, I should say, we have follow action, which is right here. Now, we have these numbers. This is going to tell the clip how many bars, beats, and ticks to play for. With these 2 drop-down windows here, you can tell it to do something next. So after it plays for a bar, it could trigger, the next clip, the first, any other clip in that track. And then underneath that, you have your probability. So how often will it do what you want it to do? And you can think of this as a ratio. So with it set to 1, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, 100% chance it's going to do what you tell it to do. The higher this number, the lower that percentage gets, okay? So again, you can add a lot of randomization. And you can have a clip, you can give a clip 2 different actions. So you can say, 50% of the time you're gonna play the next clip, and 50% of the time you're gonna play any other clip. So it's really cool how flexible you can be with follow action. What I wanna do right now, just for the sake of example, is just have every clip play for a bar and then trigger the next one, just so you can see how this works. So I'm gonna highlight all of these, click the first one, hold shift, click the last one, they're all selected. Go down here, follow action, 1 bar. After 1 bar, it'll play the next clip. This, I'm gonna put on no action. And this bottom number is set to 1, so it's gonna do it 100% of the time, okay? So now, if I trigger this first clip, okay, plays for a bar. And you see the one that's about to be triggered next has a flashing green arrow, so you know what's gonna come next. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So now we have a bunch of these 1 bar clips playing for a bar and then triggering the next thing without us doing anything other than triggering the first clip. Now that's pretty cool, but we can take this much, much further. So right now I have everything playing for 1 bar. Let's change this so that everything plays for a quarter note. So again, select all of these. I'm going to change this from 1 bar to 1 quarter note. We got the 1 there. And instead of triggering the next one, let's randomize this, okay? We'll have it trigger any other clip. So let's do this. Now see, this is cool, but now it's a bit too random, okay? The main thing is when you're dealing with drums in a 4/4 time signature, you're used to hearing the snare fall on the 2 and on the 4. And if the snare doesn't necessarily fall on the 2 and the 4, you can't really follow the beat. It's kind of hard to figure out where the time signature is at. So as cool as it is that I can randomize this and have each one play, a quarter note after the previous clip, I have to make sure that there's going to be a snare that consistently falls on the 2 and the 4, or at least close to it. For me to do this, I can use something that's called Legato Mode. What Legato will do is, right now when each one of these clips are being triggered, they're being triggered from the very beginning. And some of these clips start with a kick, some of them start with a snare, okay? With Legato Mode, I can make it so that no matter when the clip is triggered, instead of starting at the very beginning, it'll just start at its natural position in our session's timeline. So an easy way to explain that would be, if this clip here got triggered on the 3rd quarter note of our first bar, instead of this clip starting at the beginning, it would actually start on the 3rd quarter note within the clip. So This can be kind of confusing to explain it, so let me just give you a practical example of how this changes what we got going on. Let's do this. We're going to select all of these, and instead of this being random, I'm going to have each clip trigger the next one. Now I want you to notice how this pattern sounds, okay? Right now, each one of these clips is being triggered from the very beginning. Okay. Now, if I enable legato mode, each one of these clips will be triggered at its proper position in our session's timeline. So instead of each one starting at 1-1, it'll start at, whatever place we're in the bar. If we're at the third quarter note, it'll start at its third quarter note. So again, notice the difference. So now we're still getting that snare on the 2 and the 4, but we're also still getting that randomization. So to be able to do this is really cool, because then you're still essentially chopping your sample, but like I said, you just add a lot more randomization to, the quote-unquote sequence. So at this point, if we wanted to, now we could go back and randomize this. I'm going to change this from playing the next sample to triggering any sample. So now you can already see the difference there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and start altering some of the parameters of a few of these clips and transpose some of this stuff. And at this point, we can really, really alter the sound of our drum. So now you hear this pattern, and this all stemmed from this original drum break here. So the other nice thing is that if we wanted to, say in the course of a live set, or if this is going to be part of a song, we could go from our original drum break into the craziness. And then just jump back. It's pretty cool. Follow action is actually one of my favorite things to use in Ableton Live. And I'm always pleasantly surprised by how it can be implemented. This is not something just to use for drums. You can use this with melodic pieces as well, things that you record yourself. It's pretty cool. So anyway, before I get too lost in the mix, let me just wrap up. So we've just talked about follow action, and I've shown you a few different ways to apply it and how legato mode affects follow action as well. So I hope you guys have gotten something useful out of this. Again, my name is Thavius Beck, Ableton certified trainer and Dubspot instructor, and we've been using follow action on Ableton Live.
You can use it strictly in the studio, you can take it out on the road with you, you can perform with it, you can DJ with it. Just about anything you can think of working with audio, Live can handle it.
I also, since the last 3 years, use Ableton exclusively. It's so easy, it's so quick and so intuitive.
When I heard about Ableton and checked it out, it seemed to be like, okay, this is exactly what I'm looking for.
Everybody's got their own methods, and it's crazy, like, watching Thavius Beck, like, man, I never would have done it like that. Thank you.
Start a song, you hear something out in the world that you want to record or sample, you can do it all right here.
I wanted to learn about Ableton, and I wanted to learn some tips and tricks.
The guys at Dubspot, the teachers, are using Live themselves, using it in their everyday work.
Yeah, check this out. I'm gonna find a kick here a second ago. Like here, this little sound right here is kind of cool. Find where that's at.
Crazy, man.
The first day's workshop of the production elements, it was complete gold. I learned just you know, a myriad of new things that I just had no idea you could even do.
There's just a wealth of information here. Everyone here has been great.
I got Ableton. I was like trying it out. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't figure it out. Finally, after this like 3-course program, I finally saved and like uploaded to my computer my first track ever.
It's inspiring to see other people and what they're doing with the same program, and really how everybody uses it differently. It's really not the same for anybody. It's almost what you want it to be.
I love to speak and share this stuff, but I really love it when people put it into practice and they get back to me and they say, you know, everything you said worked, and that's the most fun to me.
People are wanting to touch the music that they're listening to rather than just passively listen to it. They want to be a part of it. They want to add their own, put their own fingerprint on it and take it to the next level. And this is a really, really great way.